Hello and welcome to the Sex Within Marriage podcast. My name is JD and I blog over at uncoveringintimacy.com. And today we're going to talk about neuroplasticity and how to use it to make your spouse more attractive to you. First though, I want to tell you about two things that are going on. The first is that I'm going to be speaking at an event. It is a virtual marriage mastery summit. It is next weekend. I'm going to be speaking at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'm going to be talking about why having a varied sexual repertoire is important for your marriage. But there's a lot of other speakers that are going to be sharing a lot of amazing topics about marriage, and you should come out, check out the whole thing. It is free. Anybody can come, and you just sign up, and you can watch whichever of the sessions you want to. So that's going to be next week, Sunday. You can sign up at fullythriving.com/J, and I'll put a link in the show notes for you so that it's easy to find. The second thing is that I'm going to be rerunning the webinar for our Becoming More Sexually Engaged class. This is a webinar for wives who want to become more sexually engaged in their marriages. So if you have ever said, I want to, but I don't want to, if you have a lot of fights about sex and maybe you never initiate, or you find yourself turning your spouse down a lot, this is one to come out to. It's, again, free. It's about an hour long, and then I have a Q&A period after that, and we're just going to talk about, a whole bunch of things to do with becoming more sexually engaged in your marriage. So if you want to sign up for that, you can go to uncoveringintimacy.com/webinar, and you can register for that for free as well. Again, I'll put a link to that in the show notes as well. And again, this is for the wives. And lastly, it is a new month, and that means we're going to have couples night again on Tuesday. If you're a supporter, you get in for free as part of being a supporter if you give $5 a month or more. If you want to come but aren't a supporter yet, you can go to uncoveringintimacy.com/donate. Sign up to give $5 a month or more, and you can come to the couples night. It's a Zoom call. It's about an hour long. We have a ton of fun. We laugh and joke, and we talk about marriage and the things that we're struggling with, or that we're overcoming, or things we've learned, or whatever. It's just kind of an open, almost group coaching kind of small group environment. I look forward to them every month. I know everybody else that comes does too. They're a lot of fun. We learn lots. We talk. It's frankly fantastic. And I hope to see some more of you there. So with that out of the way, let's talk about neuroplasticity and attraction. So if you look online, you can find tons of videos, articles, podcasts, products, and more about how to make yourself more attractive to your spouse or potential partners. It's everywhere. You can also find resources to help you try to make your spouse more attractive by changing them. But what you don't see much of, though, are resources to help you change your mindset to make them seem more attractive to you without changing them. And we all know the phrase, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but rarely, if ever, is it used to recognize that you, as the beholder, can change what you're attracted to. But I do get emails from people asking how to do this. And some are from spouses who want to stop looking at other people. They want to be so captivated by their husband or wife that they don't even see the others. Some are from husbands and wives who have lost the attraction over time. It could be because their spouse and them are aging and struggling with that, or it could be that something in the relationship broke the initial attraction and they're struggling to recreate it. Those aren't the only two reasons, but they're the most common ones I see. And this lack of attraction can be problematic because it impacts many things. It changes how you look at them, your desire to be physical with them, and even how you relate to them. So today we're going to talk about this wonderful thing called neuroplasticity and how you can use it to make your spouse more attractive to you. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new connections between neurons. It makes our brains very adaptable, allowing us to learn new skills, adapt to changes, recovering from injuries, and more. For example, when we learn something new, like playing a musical instrument, our brain changes, supporting this skill by creating and strengthening connections between the appropriate neurons. This neuroplasticity also influences our emotions and our behaviors. For example, if something traumatic happens to you on a bus, your brain will make connections between the neurons to keep you away from buses because it considers them unsafe. On the other hand, if you experience something that brings you joy and happiness, your brain, again, will create connections to link those neural connections in a way that makes you want to experience them more. But you can also do this intentionally. Through mindful intentionality, we can encourage those connections to grow through the same mechanisms. Sometimes that intentionality is paradoxically unintentional. I've talked to husbands and wives who have spent years running negative narratives about their spouses. Some verbalizes, others keep it to themselves. But what they have in common is that they slowly over time start losing both respect and attraction towards their partner. Years, sometimes decades of self-programming have taught their brain to see their spouse as a lousy partner, and thus an unattractive one. It's usually not as apparent as them thinking, ugh, they're ugly, but it's more subtle. They become more dismissive in their conversations with them. They're more likely to show contempt. Their sex drive decreases with them. They're less interested in doing things together. They feel motivated to be away from home or wherever their spouse is. And this is the ugly side of neuroplasticity. We can train ourselves to treat our spouses terribly, slowly and subtly over time. Thankfully, it's reversible because the opposite is also true. You can train yourself to see your spouse in a better light and be more attracted to them. Just as negative thinking patterns and behaviors can weaken attraction towards your spouse, positive changes can strengthen and reignite that attraction. So here are some ways you can use neuroplasticity to increase your attraction towards your spouse. One effective strategy is to practice mindfulness and deliberate appreciation for your spouse's attributes. Find something that you find attractive about your spouse and focus on that. It may be that they have nice shoulders or elbows or knees even. Don't focus on the parts that you may not be as attracted to now. Focus on the ones that you are and then compliment those. Notice them, compliment them, touch them, focus on them, and let your brain be attracted to that part of your spouse. Not in a way that objectifies that part, but in a way that enables you to recognize that there is some part of your spouse that you still find attractive. Similarly, find parts of their personality that you find attractive. If you need help, try to remember what first attracted you to them. Maybe it was their sense of humor or their even-keeled approach to life. Maybe it was their wit or their insightfulness. Perhaps they are kind and compassionate or just passionate and impulsive. Whatever it is, find and focus on that and look for opportunities to notice those qualities, smile at them, and compliment them on it. I think Proverbs 15 tells us this when it says, let your fountain be blessed and rejoice with the wife of your youth as a loving deer, as a graceful doe. Let her breast satisfy you at all times and always be enraptured by her love. Through this daily practice of mindful appreciation, you can gradually notice a shift in your perception of your spouse. You can feel more deeply connected and appreciative of the unique qualities that initially drew you to them. And you can stay in that state of always being satisfied and enraptured. Even better is if you both do this together. As you continue to nurture these positive thoughts and expressions of gratitude, you will find that your bond grows stronger and your feelings of attraction towards each other deepen. And by regularly engaging in this intentional practice of acknowledging and expressing appreciation for your partner's attributes, you can harness that power of neuroplasticity to reinforce those feelings of attraction and admiration. You cultivate a deeper sense of connection and intimacy through small, consistent actions, laying the foundation for a lasting and fulfilling relationship. And engaging in activities together that foster emotional connection and intimacy is another strategy for leveraging neuroplasticity to enhance attraction within your relationship. Recognizing the importance of shared experiences in strengthening your bond, you can both commit to prioritizing quality time together. You could establish like a weekly tradition of cooking dinner together, collaborating on preparing a new recipe while sharing stories about your day. Through this shared activity, you would not only create delicious meals, but also deepen your emotional connection by engaging in meaningful conversations and enjoying each other's company. As you laugh and talk and work side by side in the kitchen, you strengthen the neural pathways associated with positive emotions and bonding. And then you and your spouse could explore activities that allow you to reconnect on a deeper level. You could sign up for couples dance classes where you learn new steps and movements while navigating the dance floor together. The physical closeness and coordinated movements of dancing, help you experience a heightened sense of connection and intimacy, further reinforcing the same kind of bond. And a big part of the attraction is simply proximity and familiarity. And by spending more time together, engaging in fun activities that let you get to know each other, you create this attraction. Furthermore, you make time for shared activities and experiences that ignite your sense of excitement and adventure. Whether going on weekend hikes in natures or exploring new destinations or participating in local cultural events or anything that's new and exciting, these shared adventures provide an opportunity to create lasting memories and activating reward pathways associated with novelty and exploration through the release of dopamine. And by intentionally engaging in activities that foster emotional connection and intimacy, you and your spouse tap into this transformative power of neuroplasticity to deepen your bond and ignite your attraction for each other. So through these shared experiences, meaningful conversations, adventurous pursuits, you can cultivate a relationship rich in connection, intimacy, and mutual admiration. Another way to work on this is communicating openly and honestly about your desires, fantasies, and insecurities. This is essential for nurturing attraction within your relationship. Picture yourself and your spouse committed to fostering trust and intimacy through candid dialogue. Recognizing the importance of vulnerability in deepening your connection, you both make a concerted effort to create a safe space for sharing your inmost thoughts and feelings. You initiate conversations where you express your desires and fantasies, inviting your spouse to do the same. And they may share a fantasy you've been curious about exploring together or openly discussing your intimate desires and preferences. By bravely opening up about these aspects of yourselves, you not only strengthen your emotional bond, but also foster a deeper connection for each other's needs and desires. Moreover, you create opportunities for discussing insecurities and vulnerabilities in a supportive and non-judgmental environment. You encourage each other to share your fears, your doubts, your insecurities, knowing that honest communication is the foundation of trust and intimacy. Because through these heartfelt conversations, you offer each other reassurance, validation, and support, and strengthen your connection and deepen this emotional intimacy. Furthermore, it helps you embrace the idea of continuous growth and exploration within your relationship. You understand that desires and fantasies may evolve over time, and you remain open to exploring new avenues together. By maintaining these open lines of communication and a willingness to listen and understand each other's perspectives, you can create a dynamic and fulfilling partnership grounded in mutual respect and acceptance. And this vulnerability creates intimacy through trust. So sharing these deep, vulnerable, and intimate details of your thoughts and feelings help increase that intimacy, which will, in turn, increase attraction. This is why we build resources to help you have these conversations, like our free 37 questions to ask each other about sex or our sexploration list. We actually just created a new kind of free sample version. It's smaller, it's stripped down, it's easier to get through. It's not as long, but it'll give you kind of a head start and you can try it out. There's links to them in the show notes. In summary, by communicating openly and honestly about your desires, fantasies, and insecurities, you and your spouse foster a deeper level of connection and intimacy. And through brave and vulnerable conversations, you strengthen your emotional bond, enhance your understanding of each other's needs, and cultivate a relationship characterized by trust, authenticity, and mutual support. And the last way would be to make time for physical touch and affection, because this is vital to nurturing attraction within your relationship. Envision yourself and your spouse committed to fostering intimacy and closeness through meaningful touch. Recognizing Physical connection has a strong power to strengthen emotional bonds. And if you both prioritize moments of affection in your daily lives, you will see this. You can intentionally carve out time for physical intimacy, whether it's through tender gestures like holding hands, cuddling on the couch, or sharing loving embraces. These moments of closeness release feel-good hormones like oxytocin. They deepen your emotional connection and reinforce feelings of attraction towards each other. Moreover, you explore different ways to incorporate physical touch into your daily routine. You may make it a habit to greet each other with a warm hug or gentle kiss before parting ways in the morning. Throughout the day, you might find opportunities to express affection through small gestures like a reassuring touch on the shoulder or a loving caress on the cheek or grabbing a butt, whatever works for you. Additionally, you can prioritize intimacy in your romantic encounters, setting aside dedicated time for passionate and sensual experiences. Whether it's a spontaneous date night or a quiet evening at home, you create a space where you can fully immerse yourselves in each other's presence and explore the depths of your physical connection. And by doing this, you remain attuned to each other's needs and preferences, ensuring that physical touch is always mutually enjoyable. You communicate openly about your desires and boundaries, fostering trust and respect within your relationship. So in summary, you and your spouse cultivate a more profound sense of intimacy and connection by making time for physical touch and affection. You strengthen your bond through tender gestures, loving embraces, passionate encounters, and reignite that flame of attraction within your relationship. By prioritizing physical intimacy as a cornerstone of your partnership, you create a foundation of love, trust, and mutual fulfillment. But to gain traction on this, you have to stop the negative influences as well. Whatever you do to build up a negative version of this, you cut it out of your life. Whether that's talking bad about your spouse, be it to others, your spouse, or to yourself, looking at Instagram models, watching porn, reading erotica, watching romantic comedies, or anything else that makes you compare your spouse to some other standard. Get that stuff out of your life so that you can make some real progress. Otherwise, it's like one person bailing water out of the canoe while another one's dumping it back in. Whenever you find yourself comparing your spouse to someone else or being attracted to a part of someone else, be it physical or part of their personality, instead redirect your thoughts towards something you appreciate or enjoy about your spouse. Because ultimately, God has given us this incredible ability to rewire our brains and let them grow in the direction we want. And you can use that superpower for bad or good. So if you find yourself becoming less attracted to your spouse, look at your own behaviors, actions, and thoughts and see what might be contributing to that. And then alter them so that you aren't unintentionally creating those new narrow pathways leading away from attraction. Instead, cultivate thoughts and behaviors that grow your brain towards attraction for your spouse. And it's not a one-time thing. This growing together should be a continuous process that we do for each other. Beauty really is in the eye of the beholder, and you can look at your spouse 10, 20, 40, even 60 years later and say, they're more beautiful than ever, and mean it. And that's what I wanted to talk about today. Don't forget to check out the Marriage Mastermind and the webinar for wives that are coming up. Links are in the show notes. Also links for the 37 questions and the Sexploration List sample. Next week, I should have out our next anonymous questions post. So stay tuned for that. Talk to you next time.